We had another no-hitter this weekend. Chris Sale made his return and much more. Let's talk about it next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5. As always, make sure to follow and stream us on Spotify. Today is Monday, August 16th. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by Scott White. And who is Tyler Gilbert? He threw a no-hitter against the Padres in his first career start. Obviously, went complete game, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, only had 9 swinging strikes. He's 20% rostered. Scott, who is Tyler Gilbert?
I couldn't have told you anything about Tyler Gilbert prior to this no-hitter, which isn't a good sign, right? He is 27 years old. He has spent most of his minor league career as a reliever, a traditional reliever, before moving to the rotation this year. And he throws 88 miles per hour. So, I saw some highlights from the no-hitter. I didn't watch the whole thing. I saw enough highlights, good plays by fielders, to know that he came very close to losing the no-hitter several times, losing the shutout even. And I think it was just a magical night of baseball, and good memories for the Gilbert family, for Diamondbacks fans, but not much more to see here than that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. He gave up 10 hard hit balls in this start, so did get a little lucky here in this start. He's 20% rostered. If he sticks in the rotation, he's scheduled to pitch at Coors Field this week against the Colorado Rockies. Don't like that for Tyler Gilbert. Let's talk about some other starting pitchers from the weekend and how would we rank these guys. A lot of players we keep talking about, but they're just not rostered in enough leagues. Let's start with Josiah Gray, who had a quality start against the Braves with 6 strikeouts. Patrick Sandoval wasn't good this weekend against the Astros, 4 2/3, 4 runs, but he's still only 66% rostered. Madison Bumgarner, in 6 starts since coming off the IL, has a 2.09 ERA. Triston McKenzie took a perfect game into the 8th inning on Sunday. He finished with 11 strikeouts, only 1 hit allowed. And then Reid Detmers, who is a highly regarded prospect for the Angels, went up against the Astros on Sunday. 6 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. Scott, how would you rank that group? Josiah Gray, Sandoval, Madison Bumgarner, Triston McKenzie, and Reid Detmers.
Well, there's 3 I'm excited about and 2 not so much. The number 1 on the list for me would be Patrick Sandoval, which it's just a tragedy that he's not universally rostered yet. His swinging strike rate is off the charts this year. He's had a couple double-digit strikeout games. The changeup and the slider both look like huge swing and miss pitches for him. Not many pitchers in all of baseball have 2 that miss bats at the rate those 2 do for him. So even with the rough start this weekend, the arrows pointed straight up for Patrick Sandoval, I think. Josiah Gray, not nearly as many starts, but he's shown a lot of swing and miss ability too. So he'd be second on the list for me. But close behind him would be Triston McKenzie, who's now put together 3 straight quality starts. The strikeout rate hasn't been consistently high between the 3, but obviously 11 strikeouts and 8 shutout innings. And he's shown, we saw him come up last year and strike out a lot of guys then too. Controls looked better after a rough start with that early this year. So McKenzie would be 3rd for me. Reid Detmers 4th, and Madison Bumgarner 5th. Bumgarner's been consistent in coming off the IL, 2 earned runs or fewer in all of those starts, but I do not have a lot of confidence in him based on the underlying numbers.
Finally, Chris Sale made his return this weekend, going up against the Orioles. 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 0 walks, 8 strikeouts. He averaged 93.2 miles per hour on the fastball, and it was right around 93 miles per hour back in 2019 when Chris Sale struggled, right? Struggled, I'll put in quotation marks. So, Scott, what did you see from Chris Sale in his debut and return?
Yeah, I don't think that velocity was really the problem for him last year in 2019 when he had the 4.40 ERA in 25 starts, because he still had a ton of strikeouts, 14 of those 25 starts. He had double-digit strikeouts, in fact, 17 strikeouts in one game, 14 strikeouts in another, and he averaged about 93 on his fastball in 2016, too, when he had a typical Chris Sale season. So I think he's fine. I think the velocity might improve even as he goes forward. This being his first start back from Tommy John surgery, looked good on his minor league rehab assignment. And I think he's back to being a must start in fantasy, more or less.
Definitely start him this week against the Texas Rangers. That is a Great matchup. Probably the best matchup in fantasy baseball right now. Scott, if we need saves in fantasy baseball, we saw each of Michael Givens with the Reds, Joe Barlow with the Rangers, and both of Anthony Bender and Dylan Floro with the Marlins pick up saves this weekend. How would you rank that group if you needed saves? Givens, Barlow, and the Marlins guys.
Givens has gotten each of the Reds' last 3 saves. He's been more reliable than any reliever they've had this season, so I'll go him number 1. I'll go Joe Barlow of the Rangers number 2, who seems to have overtaken Spencer Patton for the job there. Dylan Floro, I'll rank ahead for the Marlins, ahead of Anthony Bender. Bender's better, but I think Floro still has the leg up there just because of his experience.
For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, your smart speakers, or anywhere else podcasts are found. And thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. If you enjoyed the pod, please leave a 5-star review on Apple. We'll be back again on Wednesday morning. Bye-bye.